Hello and welcome back to carsick.mic for another review video. This time around, I'll be taking the new Volvo XC40 Recharge T5 for a spin to see how it stacks up against the regular XC40 T5. The XC40 Recharge T5 is the hybrid version of the XC40, and this is in line with Volvo's commitment to reduce carbon footprint as a company itself. Without further ado, let's dive in. On the outside, it's hard-pressed to differentiate whether this is a regular XC40 or the XC40 Recharge T5. The things that allow me to separate the two are the addition of a charging port on the front left fender, the Recharge lettering on the C pillar, and the Recharge T5 badging at the rear. Overall, the XC40 is a handsome and muscular looking SUV with a hint of sportiness in it. I like that Volvo uses black plastic claddings at the bottom part of the XC40 to give it a more rugged look. During my time with the SUV, I noticed that the XC40 Recharge T5 do attract the attention of some Volvo owners. Moving inside, the XC40 has one of the sportier looking interior among the different Volvo models, and yet it still carries the same minimalistic luxury feel of a Volvo. On the other hand, the minimalistic aspect of the interior can be intimidating to those who gets into a modern Volvo for the first time, as this is due to some of the buttons can be a little confusing to them. As for the differences, the interior is literally the same as the regular XC40. The only noticeable changes are the Recharge wording on the front door seals. Sitting in the driver's seat, I do get comfortable rather easily, while all the buttons and controls are within reach. As the XC40 is a SUV, I do sit quite tall, and I get a commanding view out of the vehicle. Speaking about that, I do notice that the long hood do give an impression that the XC40 is a much bigger SUV than it is. But in actual fact, the overall footprint of the XC40 is just slightly bigger than a C-segment sedan, apart from its height. Heading to the back seats, the rear headroom and legroom are sufficient, but I find the rear seat back is quite upright to be seated for long journeys. I also noticed that the center tunnel is a little taller compared to the regular XC40. The center tunnel is usually where Volvo's hybrid battery pack is located. As for the NVH, the XC40 Recharge T5 is a quiet and serene place to be. I can barely hear the engine running even under hard acceleration. For the powertrain, the XC40 Recharge T5 utilizes a 1.5-litre 3-cylinder engine instead of a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine found on the XC40 T5. This new engine is paired with an electric motor to produce a total of 262 brake horsepower and 425 Nm of torque. This powertrain setup is also paired with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission to send the power to the ground. On the move, this powertrain has plenty of power on tap even in EV mode. Even though the switch between engine and electric motor are smooth, I do still notice when the switch occurs. One thing that I really like about the engine is that you can hear the turbos pulling up. It gives you a little excitement from the rather drama-free driving experience. As per all Volvo cars, there are 5 different driving modes to suit different driving style. During my time with the car, I tend to switch it into power mode. This is because I find that the power mode allows me to utilize the electric motor and engine equally, as the hybrid mode tends to prioritize on the electric motor. I find that the hybrid mode is more suitable for owners who works in an office, where charging is possible, then drive home after work. If let's say, my work requires me to do a lot of traveling, I will probably use up the battery charge in the first hour of driving. During my time with the XC40 Recharge T5, I am getting around 7.9 litres per 100 kilometers of fuel consumption rate. In terms of ride and handling, the XC40 feels just like any typical SUV. The XC40 has the ability to take corners without much drama. As for the steering feel, the steering felt like an effortless be it in the city or on twisty bits. The steering feel do get a tad heavier when I switch the drive mode into power mode. All in all, I still have high level of confidence in driving the XC40 on the twisty roads. This is partly due to the decent mechanical grip provided by the 235/50 R19 tires that was specifically tuned for Volvo by Pirelli. Being a tall SUV, I won't be able to push the XC40 through the corners like a regular sedan. Body roll and vehicle weight can be easily felt when there is a sudden change in direction. In order to accommodate the heavier hybrid system, I felt that the suspension on the XC40 Recharge T5 is slightly stiffer compared to the regular XC40 in order to handle the extra weight. Having a stiffer suspension also means that it can be a little nauseating for the passenger at the back. I can feel myself rocking around when I'm sitting at the rear. As for braking, the XC40 Recharge T5 utilizes a combination of electric motor and physical brake to slow the SUV down. There are two settings for the braking system, dynamic and normal braking mode. In dynamic mode, the electric motor will create retardation by increasing resistance from the electric motor to recharge the battery before the physical brakes kicks in. In normal mode, the physical brakes will react with the electric motor in tandem to bring the XC40 to a standstill. Safety-wise, the XC40 is loaded with a whole host of safety and driver assistance systems to keep the driver safe and relaxed over long-distance driving. Being a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, charging the XC40 Recharge T5 is now even easier with a much longer charging cable to help those who have limited space to park their vehicle near a power socket. In conclusion, I find the XC40 Recharge T5 is a very refined SUV to those who wanted a vehicle to travel from point to point, and it can bring you there in absolute luxury. Priced at 241,997 ringgit, it may not be the SUV for me, but I will still recommend it to those who are on the market for a decent sized luxury SUV to go and test drive the XC40 Recharge T5. So stay tuned for more, leave a like, subscribe for more future videos.